Welcome to the RadioU Podcast. Coming up, what would you do if your partner put honey in your towel?
Also, a man was caught at airport security trying to smuggle what in his pants?
All that and more on the way next. Allie, do you believe this? A new poll is out from Zip Health that basically says if you use Ozempic, your exes are more likely to slide into your DMs again. I guess the idea is that once you've lost a few pounds, that all of a sudden your ex is like, oh, well, look at that.
Yeah.
And comes crawling back.
Suddenly sees you in a new light. Yeah. They're like, oh, they seem to be doing quite well.
Right.
I haven't experienced that before, but I will say one time I had posted a picture of me with like a new haircut or new hairstyle. Yeah. And I did have an ex swipe up on my story. And was like, oh, you look nice or whatever. And I'm like, get out of here. This isn't for you.
Yeah, dang. So here's what I'm curious about is that they say, I think it's about 20% in this study of people that use Ozempic and Mounjaro and whatever, Wegovy and whatever the other, those drugs for weight loss, 20% of those users say that they've experienced their exes now sliding back into their DMs, trying to reconnect with them since they started on Ozempic. But is that higher than the average person? Hasn't the average person probably had an ex come crawling back about 1 out of 5 times? Yeah,
I would say there has been, at least for me, 1 or 2 examples that I can think of an ex that has done that before, where I'm just like, oh, now you want to, you want me or whatever. But it's like, no, that's not how it works. But there is something to be said about when you're scrolling through social media and you see somebody and they're looking real nice or real good or something, like they've been on a nice little workout plan. You're like, oh, they're looking good right now. So, I don't discredit this. I think it's probably accurate.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And combine that with you guys broke up. And for the person that's the non-Ozempic person that's sliding into the DMs, if they've been single for a little bit, and it's been a while maybe, then they're more likely to kind of remember you in a good light.
Right. You only remember the good things.
Exactly. Even if it did end on poor terms, maybe they were the one that broke up with you. But, after a while and maybe things didn't work out for them and they're thinking maybe they weren't so bad. And then you see them and they're in better shape. Then it's easy to talk yourself into being like, well, maybe... again, probably especially if they were the one that broke up with you.
Right.
Which, don't take this, though. Do not take Ozempic to try to get back with your ex.
No.
That's bad advice. I think almost in most cases, if you guys broke up, whatever the reason was, it's probably for the best.
Yeah, it's probably for the best. If it didn't work out the first time, it probably won't work out the second time.
But this could be, I could definitely see people hearing this and going, I was on the fence about Ozempic. But if it could help me get back my ex, maybe.
Or if it could help me get back at my ex.
Yeah, that's right. It could help you get revenge, too. Either way. So it's giving you if you do start taking Ozempic, you have a 1 in 5 chance of that.
Yeah. And then you can reject them.
Yeah. And that would, honestly, even if you do want to get back with them, that will probably feel better. It puts the power back in your hands.
True.
Yeah. It gives you some closure.
Yeah.
And things on your terms. March Madness coming up. It literally starts next week. And if you want to take it extra seriously, you could get in on this buzzer beater bundle from Samsung. This is actually crazy. They're selling this, first of all, $16,000. So you do need to be loaded. But $16,000 gets you one 98-inch crystal UHD 4K TV. That's, the main screen. Then it also gets you a 65-inch Neo QLED 8K TV, 3 65 Neo QLED 4K TVs, and 3 55-inch QLED 4K TVs for a total of 8 TVs. Allie, if that's not madness, I don't know what is.
Right. That's crazy. It's also crazy to buy a bundle like this just for the using it of one time per year, maybe, that you would actually need to use 8 televisions.
Yeah. They're putting it out at the perfect time. But actually, Allie, like I'm a reasonable guy. I'm realistic. Even now is not the perfect time for this.
Okay.
As cool as it is. I mean, it would be cool if I had $16,000 to just burn. I would love to get this. But realistically, you do not need 8 TVs for March Madness. There's never that many games going on at once. So what are you going to have? Are you going to have 2 of the same game on the same TV? Are you going to be watching another sport at another time? I mean, that's fine if you want to do it that way.
Yep.
But there's just, during March Madness, right, there's only like a max, I think, of 4 games because there's only 4 channels they can put it on like real TV.
Right. Yeah, I thought the same thing where I was like, this seems like way too many TVs. So I think they need a smaller bundle. They need like the
halftime bundle.
Yeah, something random like that where it's like it's four televisions or 5 or something like that. So I agree. That's too many.
It is.
I mean, it's too many in general. Like you just need one. But
well, I mean, I live my life by one simple axiom, and that's you cannot have too many TVs. But this is more TVs than is necessary for March Madness.
Yes.
But you can never have too many.
Right.
I feel.
Well, I don't know if I would agree with that. I have one television. I feel like that's plenty. Now I do live by myself. So like if I, if I had a house and a family, you might end up with more televisions or whatever. But I do feel like there could get to a point where it's like if you have a television in every room, like that's getting a little bit much.
I can think. I mean, you think about this though. If you have one TV on one wall, what's the difference between one and having 8 all around it? You're still sitting there watching, Yeah,
you're still sitting there watching.
You can just watch more things at once.
I just don't know who has a wall large enough for this because it's like
Buffalo Wild Wings.
Yeah, that's true. Because it's
Even
like
they don't
90,
have like 8 in one section.
No, it's like they got 98 inches. That's massive. First of all, huge, and then the 465s, that's big.
Yeah.
And then 155. Like my brother, I think, has like a 65 or a 55 inch television. And I was like, whoa, like that's so massive. Like mine is like 42.
I'm looking at this rendering and I'm like, this realistically, these are, they have to be bigger than they make them look in the picture, which is also crazy.
Yeah.
But like, there's just no way this could fit on any person's normal wall in their house. I will tell you though, so maybe this isn't suitable for March Madness. It's overkill. But I think, Allie, there is one use for this.
Okay.
And only a few specific people would really be in the market. But you and I might be those people. And that is for watching golf.
Oh.
Because you could have all the groups on and never miss a shot. Right? For the Masters? Wouldn't this be perfect for the Masters?
For the Masters. This would be great.
Now
this would
I've sold
be nice.
you on it.
Yeah.
You just need $16,000 and enough space. A man was just stopped by TSA in the Newark airport in New Jersey for an odd reason because when he went into the body scanner, it was revealed, was trying to smuggle a turtle in his pants.
Oh, no.
Is that a turtle in your pants or are you just happy to see me? He had a red-eared slider wrapped in a blue towel, hidden in the front of his pants, which is a risky move to say the least. Turtles bite. I used to have turtles as pets. They do bite if they are unpleased or if they think something looks like food. So it was a risky move. I guess not only keeping the turtle in your pants because it could bite you, also because you're not supposed to do that.
You're not supposed to smuggle a turtle on the airplane.
Yeah. So they did catch him. That's what those body scanners are for, catching turtles and whatever else you try to confiscate through inside your person. And so he was escorted away. The turtle, I believe, was confiscated, and the Pennsylvania officials, because the man was from Pennsylvania, were contacted the wildlife and fish officials to determine what to do next, I guess, with that turtle.
Yeah, I guess they are often used as pets. So I'm like, was this turtle this guy's pet?
That's the only explanation, right? It cannot be a lucrative enough venture trying to smuggle a turtle to sell it elsewhere.
No.
That he was trying to do it for that purpose. He just wanted to bring the turtle wherever he was going.
Right.
And didn't want to have to pay, I'm pretty sure. And so he thought, I've got to move. I'll just, towel in the pants. Get through security, and then we're off to the races.
Yeah,
and
this will surely work, right?
And what would you name a turtle? Me and Franklin here.
Yeah, Franklin.
Me and Franklin
good.
here. We're off to wherever they were trying to go. It doesn't even say. I wanted to know that because I think that would help with the story of what his destination was.
Right. Where was he taking this turtle?
Yeah.
And also, had he taken this turtle somewhere before? Because he's from Pennsylvania, but he's in New Jersey.
Yeah.
So did it work the first time? Like, was he able to fly to New Jersey from Pennsylvania and no one caught him with this turtle in his pants?
This is all a mystery.
Because, you would think you have to escalate to get to the point of being able to, let me put this turtle in my pants to try and make it through TSA or whatever. Like, what was the gateway drug to get to this point?
And why? Well, I mean, just why do you, if you have a turtle as a pet, you don't need it with you at all times.
No.
How emotionally attached. When my turtles passed away, I felt nothing.
Nothing?
Yeah, you don't get emotionally attached to a turtle.
What?
They're not loving.
You didn't feel anything?
No, I didn't feel anything at all.
Okay, well, that's kind of psychopathic.
I mean, I tried to take care of it, but I didn't feel bad when it died.
Why not?
It's a turtle.
But it's still your
it lived
pet.
a long, happy life.
It's still your pet, Hudson.
It was my pet before it passed away.
But that's exactly right. It no longer is alive.
I did much more for that turtle than it ever did for me.
Well, okay, but you could still be sad about it dying.
When it died, I was like, one less thing. One less thing.
It's awful, Hudson.
I didn't have to clean the filters anymore.
Oh, my goodness.
Disgusting.
You should have
Absolutely
never been a turtle owner in the first place.
I guess not. Yeah. I'm not a real turtle dad.
Nope.
I wasn't.
Did you not name your turtles? You were like, I'm not.
No, I didn't. That's why I struggled now to name this turtle.
Well, you could have, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You could have gone with any of those
names. I could have gone with that instead of Franklin.
Yeah.
But Franklin is even.
No, I like the name Franklin for the turtle. That's perfect. But I was like, for your own turtles, you could have named Michelangelo, Raphael.
There was only two, so how could I decide? How could I narrow it down?
You didn't have your favorites?
Not at that time. I didn't get into Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles until that new movie came out.
Really?
Yeah.
Not as a kid?
No, but that new movie's good, though.
I haven't seen them.
You should see it.
I haven't seen the movie, but I definitely watched the cartoons growing up.
Yeah, you should see it. Allie is going to take over because you know where we're going.
Hudson and Allie in space.
Well, the best part about this in space update is that you don't need to be in space to witness a pretty cool event tonight and into the early hours of tomorrow, because we have a lunar eclipse that is happening, Hudson.
Yay! I love eclipses.
Yeah, we had the solar eclipse last year. That was a
so
big
fun.
deal. That was so much fun. I was in a part of Ohio that it almost was like totality.
Yeah, I did get to go to a place where it was totality.
Yeah, it's like fully
awesome.
dark. The street lights come on. It was awesome. Yeah. But this is a little different. You don't need any special glasses to watch this because it's a lunar eclipse. So you don't need to worry about your eyes getting absolutely burned to a crisp from the sun. But this starts tonight, and basically what's happening is the moon is kind of slipping into Earth's shadow.
Okay.
And so it's going to look like a reddish type of hue at first, and then it'll be totality in like the very, very early hours of tomorrow morning. So for me and you, we probably won't be able to witness this until we wake up tomorrow morning to get ready for the show, and we'll see the very, very end of what's happening. So here's a little timeline for you of how this will break down.
All right.
So
schedule your evening tonight around this.
Yes, your evening and morning, because it starts at 11:57 and NASA PM tonight.
Yeah, got it.
They published out this little schedule of the timeline of the main events that you'll be able to see. So at 11:57 p.m., the moon will enter the outer part of the Earth's shadow called the penumbra or whatever. And that effect you'll start to be subtle, and it'll be a slight dimming of the moon, which again, the moon isn't emanating like its own light. It
Right.
just reflects the sun's light.
Yeah.
And at 1:09 a.m., so this is on the 14th, tomorrow morning, the partial eclipse will begin. The moon will start to move into the umbra, and it'll look like a bite shape has been taken out of the moon. So like
Okay.
someone bit the moon.
Yeah.
And like a chunk of it will be dark. At 2:26, totality will begin. The moon will fully enter the Earth's umbra. It'll turn a coppery red color.
Ooh.
And at this point, if you want to take pictures, you can. But you'll need like a tripod. You'll need to adjust your settings to allow more light to enter the lens. And definitely have a longer exposure if you're planning to take pictures of this. At 3:31, totality will end with the redness starting to drain out of the moon. And then it'll again appear that like a bite has been taken out. It's just on the other side as it passes out of the shadow. And then 4:47, so this is right around when we'll start to see it.
Yeah.
The entire moon will still be in the penumbra, and the brightness won't entirely be returned. And then at 6 a.m., the eclipse will be fully over.
Got it. Okay. This timeline sucks for me.
Yes.
Because we're not going to be awake at the totality exactly. But okay, here's my question. When you were for the solar eclipse, you had to be in a very certain area to actually experience the totality of it, actually like witness it to
Yes.
real, like, you would have seen it get darker, but for a lot of the country.
Yeah.
But is this just going to be like available to everybody across the country, or?
I believe so.
Obviously, the timeline would probably be a little different depending on what time zone you're in.
Yes, the time zones will be different, but for us here in the Eastern time, so these are all times in Eastern Daylight Time, that is kind of how the events will play out. But I believe you should be able to witness this wherever you are.
So as long as you're awake,
Yes.
and you're in the United States or Canada, you should be able to see this
Yep.
overnight.
Yes.
That's gonna be cool.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to wake up at 2 a.m.,
Yeah.
you can see totality.
You know what? Sometimes I just randomly do that anyway, so I'll try to remember to look out the window.
Yeah, to be like,
Yeah.
what's it looking like out there? 2:26.
Yeah.
That's the time to remember for
And
totality.
it's also probably good to just warn everybody, just even if you don't care about watching it, that nothing is going wrong
Right.
when the moon turns blood red tonight.
Yeah, especially if you're the person that works like overnight and are like driving home or
Yeah.
something. You're like, what's going on?
Yeah.
The earth is, the world is ending
Yeah,
or something.
it definitely would feel, I think in ancient times, they probably did think some curse was coming for them or whatever.
Oh, absolutely.
This kind of thing would happen. But I think, for a lot of the East Coast, too, the weather, should be nice for tonight.
Yes,
So
it's clear tonight.
should be great viewing.
Yeah.
Well, enjoy.
Well, there's a new study out, and I have to say, Hudson, this study is controversial to say the least.
No. Well, that's what we love here.
That's what
on
we
Radio
love.
U. Let's stir up some controversy.
Yeah. So according to the results of a new study which compared twins with and without tattoos, getting some ink could increase the risk of getting certain cancers.
Oh, no.
The study found that the tattooed twins were significantly more likely to develop skin cancer or lymphoma than their siblings whose skin was ink-free. Eek. In a cohort study conducted by researchers from the Department of Public Health and Department of Clinical Research out of the University of Southern Denmark, together with the University of Helsinki, they studied around 2,000 randomly selected twins' cancer diagnoses, which compared those that had cancer and those that did not. And they discovered that those that had tattoos had nearly 4 times the risk of skin cancer.
No.
Ugh.
All this time, we've been told that tattoos, they're safe, right? That's what's everybody's thought.
Yep. I mean, that's what that's what I've always
At least
believed
if you
is
go
that
to
they were
a
safe.
reputable tattoo parlor anyways.
Right. And not, a dirty, needle wasn't used
Yeah,
or whatever. But it says here, when tattoo ink penetrates the skin, some of it is absorbed into the lymph nodes. The study authors also wrote that the researchers are particularly concerned that tattoo ink may trigger chronic inflammation in the lymph nodes, which over time could lead to abnormal cell growth and an increased risk of cancer. Now,
Okay.
they did add a disclaimer to this. Now, they said it's important to note, firstly, that cancers like lymphoma are quite rare, so this increase is from a low baseline. What's more is that this is not evidence that tattoos themselves cause cancer. It may be that those who get tattoos are more at risk of cancer thanks to factors related to a decision to get tattoos, which to me just sounds like a bunch of mumbo jumbo to
It's
be
not
like...
what they're saying in that is it's not the tattoos themselves causing cancer, but if you have a type of mindset that leads you to want to get a tattoo, that's what causes cancer, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But actually, I guess you can't rule that out. You can't specifically rule that out either.
Yeah, you can't rule anything out.
In other words, there could be other decisions you also make because you're the type of person that would get a tattoo that would also make you more likely to get cancer, I guess.
I guess that's what they're saying. They're stereotyping people that want to get tattoos.
That feels more insulting, even if it is true, which we don't know yet.
Yeah, we don't know. And here's the thing. With these studies, I feel like they all come out every year. There's one or two of them that will come out and it'll be like, guys, drinking Coke gives you cancer. This thing over here that you love, eating popcorn, that would be one for me.
Yeah.
Gives you cancer. More likely, whatever terminology they decide to use. And it's just like, it's not that I don't believe them, but I have just found that you can find any data for anything to prove almost anything and take away, here's our takeaways and whatever. It's like, it's really still not a large enough group of people, a large enough study for me to be like, yep, there's absolutely no reason to get a tattoo. Like the correlation is obvious. It's just like that's never how I come away from these studies. I just come away from them being like, okay, yeah, you have a little data over here that says something, but it doesn't really prove anything. Yeah,
well, and I think it cannot be stressed enough that they think that this is evidence that there is a link between getting tattoos and a slight increased risk of getting cancer.
Right.
But they don't know why.
Right.
And so I think that's important to know too.
They think it might be because of the ink getting into the lymph nodes.
Yeah.
That may be one part of it, but that even is because
We're
of
not sure on
lymphoma not being that common of a cancer. Like that's not even certain.
If you just think about it, it does just make sense that like putting ink into your body, like it makes sense. You can easily connect two and two together that might not be the healthiest thing to do.
Right.
It doesn't mean it's horrible for you. Do you have any tattoos?
I don't.
Me neither.
I don't. And I can guarantee I'm not getting one now. No, I'm kidding. This didn't sway my opinion at all. But yeah, I'm not likely to get a tattoo.
I've always said this. I can't get a tattoo. I used to think they were cool. I mean, I still think it's cool. I like seeing people with tattoos.
Yeah, there's some tattoos I think are cool and some I think are dumb.
I'm definitely not anti-tattoo for people.
Right.
But I am anti-tattoo for me only because it's with you forever. And I am not the kind of person that can make up my mind like that.
Yeah.
Like I stress enough about what shirt to wear today. Forget about a tattoo that's going to be on my body for the rest of my life.
Yeah, you're like, I don't know if I can make that choice.
Yeah.
It's a hard one.
Mm-hmm. Except for this one on my lower thigh.
Oh, yeah. You do have a tattoo.
Yeah, I don't let many people see that one. Allie, I'm getting nervous.
Oh.
I'm getting nervous because Aaron Rodgers still, as of this moment, and this could change at any time, we have no idea, but as of this moment, he is unemployed.
Yes.
He has no NFL home. He parted ways with the Jets, and I'm getting nervous because he's running out of options. Most teams at this point have claimed their quarterbacks, it seems, for the new year. One of the teams that may unite with Aaron Rodgers for the 2025 season could be the Minnesota Vikings.
Okay.
Which I would follow Aaron Rodgers anywhere, but I can't do the Vikings. I can't do the Vikings, Bears, and Lions. I can't do the division.
Yeah.
And probably the Cowboys. I couldn't do the Cowboys.
Yeah, that would be really weird to see him as a Cowboys.
But I don't think we have to worry about that.
No.
But we do have to worry about the Vikings. We don't have to worry about the Bears. We don't have to worry about the Lions. But he could possibly go to the Vikings. And now my nemesis, Brett Favre, says, this is a quote from him, "By all means, sign with the Vikings. They've got a really good football team. They're loaded at pretty much every position." Brett Favre, who notably did what Aaron Rodgers, if he went to the Vikings, that would be a complete full match of Brett Favre's career. because Brett Favre started with the Packers, had a great career, went to the Jets, and then went to the Vikings. But I can't do Aaron Rodgers with the Vikings.
I mean, I think a lot of Packers fans would be upset if he did, but I think you have mentioned multiple times that you are more a fan of the player than the team. So don't you want Aaron Rodgers to be in a good situation?
The funny thing is, I mean, like, out of the options, the Vikings...
They are the best option for him.
They went 14-3 with Sam Darnold.
Right.
They probably would go undefeated with Aaron Rodgers.
Maybe.
So I do think they would be the best landing spot for him personally. They do have J.J. McCarthy as their quarterback they drafted in the first round last year. He was injured, so that's why they went with Sam Darnold in the first place.
Yeah.
I think it would still be a surprise if Aaron Rodgers goes to the Vikings. But it would be the best. I mean, throwing to Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison, he'd probably have a lot of success.
Do we know if JJ's going to be healthy this year?
He should be healthy enough to start.
Okay.
But and I think them letting Sam Darnold go
is a pretty decent sign.
Yeah, I think they're probably going to go with JJ McCarthy. I think Aaron Rodgers, and this is my hope, that he winds up with the Steelers. Because I think he could be very successful there.
Yeah.
And a different conference, so I can cheer for him and the Packers. They're not going to meet twice in the same year. They just meet in the Super Bowl. It'd be perfect for me.
Sure.
But I cannot do him with the Vikings. And I don't want him to follow the exact path of Brett Favre because Brett Favre is my nemesis. I hate Brett Favre. And I don't want Aaron Rodgers to emulate him any more than he already has.
Yeah. Well, I think, if you're an Aaron Rodgers fan, you should want him to end up in a good spot.
Yeah.
But like you said, I don't think the Vikings will actually want to go with Aaron Rodgers. So I could definitely see him ending up with the Steelers. You know, Justin Fields now with the Jets. So it'd be a little switcheroo.
Yeah.
QB switcheroo.
Yeah, a little swap.
Yeah.
A little swap. I'd be very happy if he wound up with the Steelers, a great organization. Some of the other options, the Titans, I think, unfortunately, that's an option, but I don't know how great that would turn out.
Yeah.
I think it'd be okay.
But I don't probably be like the Jets last year.
Yeah. And then the other option is the Giants, which I think would be surprisingly good, but Steelers definitely better.
Okay.
Definitely better.
Yeah.
Just not the Vikings, please. In first to worst, Allie and I are given a topic that we usually choose ourselves. And we choose our first choice in that topic, aka the best thing, and then the worst thing. And then you get to decide which of us chose better and which things we missed completely. Today's topic was suggested in a way by Josh from the protest when we talked to him last week. We're doing sports movies.
Yeah, sports movies, which honestly, I didn't realize how hard it was going to be to make this choice. So incredibly hard. Sports movies are one of my favorite genres. Have so many that I wish I could choose as like the top one. I really struggled to find a bad one that I was like, this is the worst ever. But
I did too, because I haven't seen very many bad ones.
Yeah, that's the thing is it's like I've watched a lot of ones that I would consider good or, up there. And so it's like, it's hard for me to be like, yeah, this is definitively bad.
Ryan texted yesterday. He said, I don't know if I could pick a favorite sports movie. I don't even think I could pick a favorite for each major sport.
That's, exactly. Like there's one, I have so many favorites for like football, baseball, this and that, it's so hard.
All right, let's get to it. Let's do the picks. I get to go first. My first pick, and this is tough, but I just had to go with my heart here, and it is Dodgeball. Vince Vaughn, Ben Stiller.
Such a good movie.
Endlessly quotable. One day they might make a sequel. If we're lucky. I know Ben Stiller doesn't want to do that, but maybe we can talk him into it.
Old strategy, Cotton.
Yeah, I love Dodgeball. One of my, not just favorite sports movies, but favorite comedies of all time.
Launched ESPN The Ocho.
That's right. So that movie's great. My worst, I had a really tough time with this because there's a lot of movies that are like, that's not great, but is it really the worst? I finally landed on Concussion with Will Smith.
I remember when this movie came.
Tell the truth. The truth. So that is
Oh, yes.
That movie was boring and not good. And so Concussion is my choice for worst.
Okay. Okay. Well, I think it's hilarious that we both kind of chose comedies for our first, because the one that I went with is my all-time favorite movie. And I feel like I had to choose it because it's just like, it's my all-time favorite and it happens to be about sports. And that is The Sandlot.
Oh, I thought about The Sandlot.
Yes, it is my all-time favorite movie, an American classic.
Yes.
I mean, baseball is my favorite sport, and I think that's what honestly started my love of baseball. Definitely my dad, but The Sandlot, I loved that movie. Benny the Jet Rodriguez, my first ever crush from a movie. Oh my goodness, yes. So The Sandlot is the first, and then the worst, I had such a hard time picking, but I think I'm going to go with Major League 2, back to the minor leagues, because it just doesn't have the same impact as the first Major League, which is such a good movie. The same characters and actors aren't back, and it was just a letdown. So, but I just had such a hard time picking a worst one.
When I was picking worst, I almost basically like eliminated sequels and movies with monkeys in them.
And that's the thing, is like, I was like, should I even pick a sequel? Yeah. It's kind of unfair. If sequels are not allowed, I would have gone with Racing Stripes, which is a movie about like a horse racing, even though it's not about horse racing. It's about a girl using a zebra to horse race, even though I grew up in Africa and I can tell you, if you ever try and ride a zebra, bad idea. They bite, and also their backs would break.
All right. 772 Radio U. Who chose better in first or worst? My first for sports movies, Dodgeball. Worst is Concussion. Allie, your first and worst?
The Sandlot for first, and Major League 2 for worst.
And let us know which ones we missed as well, because I know there's a million. I have a million honorable mentions. Kathy says that siding with Allie, can't go against The Sandlot. The Sandlot is a great movie.
So good.
The scene... The 4th of July scene.
Oh, man.
With the fireworks and Ray Charles, America the Beautiful, is just like one of the most beautiful
That's a love
things.
letter to America.
That is, yeah. Chris says Hudson Totes wins. His favorite sports movie is Battle Royale.
I don't know if I've seen that.
Yeah, it's I looked it up, not familiar either. Thomas says Hudson had me a Dodgeball, one of my favorites ever. Talladega Nights up there too, which I strongly considered. He says worst Semi-Pro, which I also thought like Semi-Pro is not a great movie, but any Will Ferrell movie I feel like has some moments at least that make me laugh, so I can't hate the whole movie.
Right.
So I couldn't have picked Semi-Pro, even though definitely not his strongest performance. He also Thomas also says Cool Runnings and Remember the Titans for honorable mentions.
I almost picked Remember the Titans as my best because I love that movie so much.
Yeah.
It's so hard to pick a sports movie, guys. So hard.
Susanna says Sandlot's the only one she's seen, so I guess I'm voting for Allie. Her favorites are Angels in the Outfield and The Mighty Ducks.
Oh, yes. Those are so good, too.
Brian says Allie's absolutely right. Sandlot, one of the top 3 movies of all time.
It's my favorite of all time.
It is a very good movie. We also heard from Ryan, who says that Allie wins for the nostalgic pick for The Sandlot, and I was on the same page as her, picking just about any sequel to a sports comedy. It's right. They're all bad.
They're all pretty bad.
The only exception being The Mighty Ducks.
Yeah.
I can't say the sequels are better, but I can still watch them. But he also says Dodgeball was a great pick.
It's such a good pick. And even I agree with that. That's the thing. It's like Dodgeball's an amazing movie.
Yeah. Jesse says Remember the Titans for first and Air Bud for worst.
What? Air Bud is...
I actually thought about that not only any movie, particularly monkeys, there was or I guess chimpanzees. There is a time frame where they made not just sports movies, but many movies that had a chimpanzee as the star.
Yes.
Just like the worst kind of movie you could make. For many reasons, and but dogs also, like Air Bud, not a high quality movie.
Not high quality, but Air Bud is one of those films where it's like you loved it because you watched it as a kid and you were like, Air Bud, you know. So it's like you can't go against it.
All right, Allie, run through more honorable mentions that you might have because I've got about a dozen.
Okay, Moneyball for best.
Okay,
I love that movie. I'm a baseball fan, so I love that. Rookie of the Year. Another baseball movie. I love that one. I love Angels in the Outfield. So I think it was Susanna who shouted that one out. That's a great one. Remember the Titans, Miracle, We Are Marshall. There's just so many.
You know, so when you said you were going to pick a baseball movie, I was sure you were going to go with Field of Dreams.
Ah, yes, that is a great one too. I just remembered that one. Thank you.
That is one that I've never seen.
You haven't
I've never
seen it?
Field of Dreams. Yeah.
Oh, you need to watch it, Kevin Costner.
I know.
Come
It
on.
says it's good. I'm sure I would love
Ray
it.
Liotta.
I've never seen it.
Yeah.
Some of my honorable mentions, a recent one, Iron Claw, the Zac Efron wrestling movie.
Oh, yeah.
That movie is
Okay.
amazing.
Okay.
One of my favorites of recent years. Also,
Does Blades of Glory count?
Yes, it does. I was going to say Happy Gilmore.
Oh, yes.
Has to get an honorable mention as well. I like a lot of the
greatest
sports
game
comedies.
ever played. Have you ever seen that one?
No.
That's about, I believe.
Is that with Shia LaBeouf?
Yeah, it's like
I
one
do
of
love Shia
the. It's a
LaBeouf.
true story of like one of the only amateurs that has ever won the U.S. Open or something like that.
Yeah, I never did get around to that one. Raging Bull, I think, is a great choice. Another one of my Scorsese. You know, I'm gonna love that. There's so many. We don't have time, but man, I love now. I just want to watch a bunch of sports movies.
I know, right?
And particularly Field of Dreams. How much longer can I go without watching?
You
that?
need to watch that.
Love them or leave them on Radio U on Radio U Mornings with Hudson and Allie. Whenever you have relationship issues, we can help. Send them into 8772 Radio U, and us and the Radio U listeners will provide the advice that we can. This is a wild one.
Oh boy.
We have a woman who says, "Is it worth putting honey in my shower towel so that my husband will learn to get his own and stop using mine?"
What?
She says her and her husband have been married a while. He has little quirks that drive me nuts. What person doesn't? However, she does say, "I love him dearly." But one of these quirks is starting to drive me really insane. He always uses the used towel that I've hung up to dry and use during my next shower. Not only does he use the towel that I had just used and plan to use again, but after he's done, he lays it flat on the floor so he doesn't slip and it doesn't hang it back up afterwards. After numerous times getting out of the shower only to find no towel on the rack, I finally and kindly, she says, asked him to stop using my towel. He got super defensive. I told him I was getting tired of having to trot through the carpet of the house naked and cold to grab a towel after my shower. He said I'm being unreasonable, and the answer to my concern is for me to check that my towel is there before I shower. This really upset me. I thought he'd see the fair solution would be that he should check his own for his own towel and go get one for himself, but instead he just thinks I'm nagging and getting upset over nothing. My solution is to prank him. He hates being sticky. I plan on putting honey on the inside of the towel that I would have used and hide the stickiness from him. Then when he goes to dry himself off, he'd instead get sticky. This could backfire and make me look like I'm overreacting. What should I do? 8772 Radio U. This is the craziest love relief I've ever seen.
Insane. First of all, I love that this is a loving couple. They love each other, but they're having this spat, and if you've ever been in a relationship, you know that spats come over nothing most of the time, or seemingly nothing, even though in the moment they feel like the biggest thing ever.
When it's such a small thing, then it feels like, why should I move on this issue?
Right. Yeah. So, I'm excited to hear people's advice for this one.
8772 Radio U. We need some help. The husband keeps taking your towel. You're not checking for your towel before you shower, and then you're winding up having to walk through the house naked to find one.
Naked and afraid through the house.
Yeah, 8772 Radio U. What is the solution here? Is it putting honey in your towel? Regina says, sure, prank that dude. She also says, it's dirty once it's been on the floor. She also said, don't they have a bath mat? Get your own to this guy. So she's in favor of the prank. D says, first, who doesn't check for a towel before you get in the shower? I think that happens to me sometimes.
I always bring, make sure I have a towel because I don't want to. But I also, my bathroom right now is connected to my closet that has towels in it. So.
I do. It's only a step over. I have to get one wet footprint on the ground if I forget to get a towel.
Right.
But I do forget. But that's because, and maybe this could easily explain why this guy would do this, is if you do other stuff in the shower before you actually start showering, you can forget because you're like, oh, like if you shave in the shower, You're thinking about shaving in the shower. You're not thinking about getting the towel.
Gotcha.
That is probably what happens to me. D's solution is each get your own colored towel. That way you know who's whose.
Okay.
I don't think that's the problem with this guy, though.
No, I think he would use whatever. Even if it was the most girly towel ever, I think he would use it.
Just use whatever's there, as long as there's one hanging there. Let's see. Chris says that he thinks the solution is funny, as in like putting the honey in the towel, but that could lead to a worst case scenario, an epic prank war. How about try first a house rule similar to the rule in some office about refilling a coffee pot? If you empty the coffee pot, you need to make it. What is the rhyme? We used to have a rhyme here when we had a coffee pot. I don't remember what it is now.
I don't drink coffee. I definitely don't know.
Whoever empties the towel rack replaces the towels. That's a nice solution. I think that this is the conversation she's had with her husband before.
Yes.
I don't think he gets it. Justin says, I say go for a petty level and start using his toothbrush. No. No, under no circumstances. No. I've had conversations with Mrs. Hudson about this, that we do not share toothbrushes.
No, that's disgusting.
How about this? Okay, Allie, how about this one from Finn? I think this is a good idea. Finn says, do not put honey on the towel. Take your towel with you after you shower and hang it up somewhere else far away from the shower, or put it in the dryer or whatever so you can use it again. And that way there's no towel there for him to use. Your problem is solved.
Yes.
And then eventually he'll realize he will get in the habit of getting his own towel before he gets in the shower.
Yeah, I think retaliating is a bad idea. Mm-hmm. Don't do that. Even though you're angry in the moment, this really isn't that big of a deal. Mm-hmm. We all have little quirks about us, and he might have some quirks that you have that he doesn't particularly like, but he hasn't brought up before. Who knows? So it's just like, I don't think you need to get super duper upset and try and retaliate and make things worse. Mm-hmm. Just because of a towel situation. So I really like that solution of, if you're really worried about this and he is insistent that he doesn't want to get a different towel and he's putting the blame back on you, then just take your towel with you after you're done showering and make him be the one who has to realize you're your big boy, buddy. You need to get your own towel.
Yeah, I think that's the way to go. And she's not wrong.
Yeah, no.
And I guess the guy is wrong in a way, but if the towel's hanging there, I understand why.
I understand why he's grabbing it, but he does need to realize that she doesn't like that he just throws it on the floor.
Yeah. Thanks for listening to The Hudson Show. Please don't forget to rate and review the podcast.